August 30th, 2552. The Covenant fleet of particular justice attacks the human fortress world Reach. The majority of the Spartan super soldiers are deployed to the surface to repel Covenant ground troops, but are presumed killed in action. 700 million people die, and over 150 UNSC space assets are destroyed. A few ships manage to escape, but the Covenant are in hot pursuit. September 19th, 2552. The UNSC Pillar of Autumn arrives in the Sol system and discovers an ancient ring-shaped superweapon called Halo. Its purpose is to kill all sentient life in the galaxy to halt the spread of a parasite called the Flood. September 22nd. Master Chief Spartan 117 self-destructs the Pillar of Autumn, destroying the Halo installation and the ships of the Covenant's fleet of particular justice, which had followed them to Sol. The battle is over, but Master Chief and his AI companion Cortana are left floating in space with no apparent way to get home. The Covenant, a collection of alien races, was founded on the belief that the Great Journey, a gateway to paradise and divinity, could be initiated by activating the Halo installations. But for the commander of the fleet of particular justice, the destruction of the ring shattered his hopes and his career. Knowing he would be put on trial for the crime of heresy and the greatest incompetence, Thel Vadame returned to the Covenant capital of High Charity to submit himself for judgment by the Covenant's three prophet hierarchs: Regret, Mercy, and Truth. After setting the Pillar of Autumn's engines to self-destruct, the Master Chief and Cortana escaped the destruction of Halo aboard a longsword fighter craft. Longswords, though powerful and quick, were only short-range craft, with no slip-space drive or cryogenic stasis pods. Master Chief and Cortana were stuck, light years from any charted space and surrounded by the surviving Covenant ships. They drift without power for some time, evading Covenant detection, but eventually running into 3 cryopods jettisoned from the Pillar of Autumn before it went down. The pods and their occupants had been drifting in space for the last 4 days, and may yet have been alive. While the Master Chief performed a spacewalk to retrieve the pods, Cortana detected another object of human origin in the debris field, a UNSC Pelican, not crashed, but rather parked on a piece of Halo's wreckage, apparently having escaped the ring's destruction. The Covenant finally discover both of the ships in the debris field, and the humans rush to escape. The Master Chief spies a large cruiser and gets an idea. He tells the Pelican to initiate a slingshot orbit around the nearby moon and dock with them for orders. Once the 2 ships are connected, the Master Chief reaches in to help the first soldier aboard, and is shocked by their identity. He demands to know why the man isn't dead, a victim of the Flood infection. Smiling, the man simply says, "It'll take more than that pack of walking alien horror show freaks to take out Sergeant A.J. Johnson." Miraculously having avoided infection, even though his entire squad, including Captain Keyes, was consumed, Johnson managed to escape the Flood and meet up with the crew of the Pelican just in time to flee the ring. The other survivors of the battle included Warrant Officer Sheila Pulaski, Corporal Locklear, and Lieutenant Elias Haverson. The Master Chief brought the mixed crew up to speed on his plan. Using the Pelican as bait, they would board the Covenant cruiser and take it over, and use it to return to human-controlled space. Though the plan carried significant risks and a low chance for success, it was the only option they had left. The Pelican was released, quickly intercepted by Covenant fighters, and destroyed. Risking a deadly crash, Pulaski flew the longsword into the Covenant ship's hangar at high speeds and spun it around at the last second, using its forward thrust to slow down. Though it would ground the longsword, the tactic worked, and no one was injured. With Covenant soldiers rapidly converging on them, the Marines and Spartan gathered what weapons and ammo they had left and entered the maintenance passageways used by Covenant engineers. It took them straight to the command deck, where they were able to clear the bridge and insert Cortana into the ship's central controls. She vented the atmosphere from most of the ship, killing what Covenant remained on board. Unfortunately, before they could set a course, a Covenant AI alerted the remaining vessels in the system to the breach and severed connection to the slipspace drive. The ship began falling into the atmosphere of the gas giant Threshold. The Master Chief enlisted the aid of an engineer to reconnect the drive and was successful. Realizing the technological capability of Covenant slipspace engines, Cortana performed the first in-atmosphere slipspace jump. Their destination? Reach. As well, only one occupant of the cryopod's Master Chief recovered was found to be alive, Spartan 058, Linda. She was still in critical condition, and if they managed to return to the UNSC, she would require extensive treatment. The Covenant ship the Marines had captured, Ascendant Justice, was more advanced than many in the UNSC fleet. However, some of the more complex maneuvers Cortana attempted with it drew too much power from its reactor. She intended to locate an intact UNSC ship to fuse to the Justice and generate more power. The planet Reach, with plenty of ships disabled in orbit, would be an excellent place to look. Arriving in under 13 hours, incredible given that the Pillar of Autumn took 3 weeks to travel to Halo from Reach. The Ascendant Justice slipped past a Covenant blockade to locate a human ship to couple with. But it was at this time they detected a human radio signal coming from the planet. If it was to be believed, it was coming from a group of Spartans that had survived by taking refuge in the Menachite Mountain Complex, a UNSC bunker, saving themselves from the Covenant as they glassed the planet. The Master Chief decides it's worth investigating, and takes the crew down to the surface. Cortana, meanwhile, begins coupling the UNSC frigate Gettysburg to the Ascendant Justice. However, the Covenant AI that had been hiding from her reappeared, and sent a distress call to the other Covenant ships in the system. Cortana froze and dismantled the AI, but it was too late. She hurriedly made a slipspace jump further out-system, leading the Covenant on a chase. Dropping in on their communications, Cortana also discovered something horrible. Somehow, the Covenant had managed to find the location of Earth. Meanwhile, the Master Chief and company reached Menachite Mountain and fought their way through a Covenant excavation party. Once inside, they encountered a significant group of survivors from the fall of Reach. 8 Spartans, including Master Chief's Blue Team, Admiral Danforth Whitcomb, and the brains of the Spartan Project herself, Dr. Catherine Halsey. During their time hiding from the Covenant, they had discovered an intact alien ruin deep beneath the mountain. It matched the design of the Forerunner structures Master Chief had encountered on Halo. Halsey had also recovered a strange crystal that the Covenant seemed eager to obtain. With enemy forces closing in, the group made a hasty retreat. Cortana, hearing about the events unfolding on the surface, hurried back to save the team. Easily destroying 2 Covenant cruisers, she picked up the survivors and made another slipspace jump, fleeing the system. The moment the Ascendant Justice entered slipspace, the Forerunner crystal reacted strangely. Emitting a potent radiation, the crystal warped space and time around the Justice and several other Covenant ships. Trapped in a void where matter seemed to fade in and out of existence at random, a deadly battle ensued that resulted in the deaths of Pulaski and 2 Spartans. The Ascendant Justice was able to eliminate some of the Covenant pursuing her, but the radiation threatening the crew forced them to drop out of slipspace. They emerged in the Eridanus system, a several days' journey from Reach, but due to the temporal anomaly generated by the crystal had managed to travel to it in only minutes. 30 years ago, the Master Chief and Blue Team had led a mission to an insurrectionist base in this very system to capture rebel leader Robert Watts. The rebel colony was still alive and thriving, though not welcoming of the UNSC. Thanks to a display of their weapons, the crew of the Ascendant Justice convinced the rebels to form a truce, and they began to work together to repair the damage done to the ship. Dr. Halsey, meanwhile, had her own mission to attend to. She gave the anomalous Forerunner crystal to Corporal Locklear and told him to destroy it. She then sedated Kelly, Spartan 87, and stole one of the rebels' few slipspace-capable vessels, heading to parts unknown. Dr. Halsey going rogue was the least of the crew's worries, as the Covenant were still following them from Reach. Cortana had learned of an invasion force targeting Earth, and a space station they would be operating from. As the Ascendant Justice headed for friendlier space, the Spartans would drop off and board the space station, destroying it themselves. Escaping the Covenant, but leaving the rebel base behind, the Justice initiated Operation First Strike. Corporal Locklear, understanding the dangers of the Forerunner crystal, and also feeling some anger towards it for its hand in the death of Sheila Pulaski, for whom he had developed an affection, attached explosives to the crystal. Unfortunately, the crystal released more energy than expected when it was destroyed, and Locklear perished in the blast. What remained of the Spartans performed a rough transition from slipspace in one of the Ascendant Justice's Spirit dropships, arriving at the site of the Covenant invasion force. The massive space station, unyielding Hierophant, allowed them on board to repair, unaware the dropship was hijacked. Once on board, the Spartans located the reactor and set it to overload. They managed to escape and found that the Gettysburg had returned to help them. The Ascendant Justice, however, was nowhere to be found. Once aboard the frigate, the Master Chief and his team found only Sergeant Johnson and Cortana. Admiral Whitcomb and Lieutenant Haverson had disconnected the Ascendant Justice and were now drawing the Covenant ships towards the unyielding Hierophant, using a hologram of the Forerunner crystal to entice them. The plan worked, and when the station exploded, nearly the entire fleet of 500 Covenant ships was destroyed. Their mission complete, the crew of the Gettysburg set course for Earth. All in all, the Spartans were successful. A massive Covenant invasion of Earth was thwarted, and Cortana returned to the UNSC with plenty of intelligence on the Forerunners, Flood, and Halo. Spartan Linda was successfully healed, and soon returned to active duty. Dr. Halsey's disappearance, however, was a matter to be addressed another day. On the Covenant side, they had suffered disastrous losses over the past few weeks. Around 620 ships, a space station capable of maintaining an entire fleet, the element of surprise for an attack on Earth, and above all, the loss of their holiest relic, the Halo. The Covenant leadership was furious, and demanded an inquiry. Someone would pay for the setbacks they had suffered.